An emotional press conference today where Coach Tony Bennett announced his retirement.
A Stewart Straff woman helps out the victims of Hurricane Helene in Tennessee by driving supplies down in her tractor trailer.
And more speed cameras are popping up across the Commonwealth, but how legally sound are they?
You're watching Charlottesville's most experienced news team. This is 29 News at 6.
Tony Bennett had his retirement press conference earlier today.
Choking up and wiping away tears, Bennett today sharing his reasons for retiring, effective immediately after 15 years leading the Cavaliers. Marty Hutloff was there and joins us live in studio with our top story at 6.
Hey there, Steve and Aaron. A very emotional Tony Bennett says he's no longer the best coach to lead UVA basketball in a changing college athletics environment. The man who coached Virginia to its only national championship in 2019 says he's not the best fit for the Hoos in an era that now involves agents, NIL deals, and the transfer portal.
And I've been here for 15 years as the head coach. And I thought it would be a little longer, to be honest, but that's been on loan. It wasn't mine to keep. This position has been on loan, and it's time for me to, excuse me, I knew that would happen. It's time for me to give it back.
In front of family, UVA coaches and players, Tony Bennett says he came to UVA 16 years ago to see if he could build a program in a unique way that could compete with the Blue Bloods in the ACC. He did, winning 2 ACC tournament titles and 6 regular season conference championships. But he feels times have changed.
When I looked at myself and I realized I'm no longer the best coach to lead this program in this current environment. And if you're going to do it, you got to be all in. You got to have everything. And if you do it half-hearted, it's not fair to the university and those young men.
The changing environment now involves agents and NIL.
I'm a square peg in a round hole. It's what it is. And maybe that's the hard part to admit. But it's okay, because when you tell the truth, there's freedom in that.
Bennett says he thought about stepping down at the end of last season, but changed his mind, excited about the transfers and incoming recruits Virginia landed. But just recently, talking with his wife, felt now was the best time to retire.
I've always wanted this to be taken over by one of my staff members. I always have.
Bennett says assistant Ron Sanchez will be Virginia's interim head coach.
I wanted these guys and the staff to have a couple scrimmages 3 weeks before they play games to get together and just to step out of the way. I wish I could have gone longer. I really do.
Bennett says he will still be around Charlottesville. He says he wishes he could work at UVA in a part-time capacity. He's only 55 years old, but still Bennett's retirement is a big loss for UVA and college basketball.
I've coached for him for 3 months, and I've learned more in these 3 months than I could have learned in a lifetime from other coaches. So I'm more than content, like I said, happy for him. And when I was playing for him, I learned more in those 3 years, and he's 100% the best coach I've ever played for.
What will the program miss by him not being here?
Everything. You know, you see how he is. Like, there's no way to, pretend like that's not the case. We love him. I'm happy he'll still be around in that, but yeah, we'll miss him.
Playing for Coach Terry Holland and then getting to know Tony over the last 10 or 12 years. And Virginia has been so lucky that both of these men have had long runs here.
Now, Tony Bennett said today he's not against NIL and says there's a way forward for UVA basketball to have success and still stay true to its values. But it's complicated, and says college basketball is not in a healthy spot and there needs to be change.
Sounds like his mindset is very similar to maybe what Nick Saban was going through at the end of last year with Alabama football.
And a lot of coaches across the country in all sports are sadly getting out of the business because of this. But Tony Bennett said he may want to be an advocate for today's student athletes going forward, as he says there needs to be changes in salary caps that college teams can spend on players, changes in limiting agents' involvement, and several different things that he wants to see done. Says the system is broken.
And no doubt he will be an ambassador for UVA basketball and college basketball on the whole.
No doubt. But it's a shame that he's no longer coaching, because he was a tremendous coach in college basketball. A shame that this forced him out.
Right. Remember, when he first came here 15 years ago, not everybody was thrilled with the choice. Worked out all right.
The slow pace was just fine for most of us and all of us. All of us. I loved it. Who doesn't love a consistent winner, which is what Virginia was.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marty.
And hopefully still is with Ron Sanchez.
That's right.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you so much, Marty. And a grandmother's love led a Stewart's Draft woman to Hurricane Helene affected Tennessee, bringing with her a tractor trailer full of supplies to help. Avery Davis joins us now live in the studio to show us what she saw and how you can help from home.
For Valerie Smith, Hurricane Helene hit close to home. That's because her kids and grandkids live near the North Carolina-Tennessee border. Smith says she will never forget the horror she saw when she arrived with desperately needed help.
She would send me the videos, and it was just devastating.
Videos of Helene's wreckage
That's gone.
There's the truck.
from her daughter in Tennessee that made Valerie Smith leap into action.
I said, this is where I need to be. This is where we need to go.
Smith drove this tractor trailer filled to the brim with relief goods to eastern Tennessee. She says what she saw after arriving will stay with her forever.
As we pulled up, it breaks your heart. You see a house and you see another house that's slid into it, but there are bicycles and baby dolls and a man's tie, people's stained glass lamps, their pottery.
Smith says the most heartbreaking part, seeing how similar these mountains look to the ones at home and realizing how lucky she was.
You'd go 1 mile, go down a couple of miles, and it looked okay. It looked like home. It looked like here. You turn a corner and part of the road was missing, or the gully on the side of the road.
What these people need right now, she says, everything.
And then they're going to need water and just regular, food supplies like we're taking now. And it's because it will be, they said, 4 to 6 months.
Smith says she hopes people will not forget about the people she met. Homes destroyed and lives that may never be the same. She says it will only get worse in the coming months as the weather cools and people are without heat or warm clothes.
You're thankful for what you have. And you hope that people have a big enough heart that they're willing to say, yeah, what can we take these people to help to make winter a little more bearable? Because it's going to be bad.
Smith says her goal is to bring down gifts for the holidays after this, and she hopes people will continue to donate in any way possible. Live in the studio, Avery Davis, 29 News at 6.
Thank you, Avery. We'll get ready to party on a Monday night. Dirty Nellie's Pub in Fry Spring will host a free concert benefit next Monday, the 21st. Any proceeds go to communities in western North Carolina devastated by Hurricane Helene. The band Chamomile and Whiskey will take the stage. It says it planned to do shows in Asheville and Chattanooga, but both of those were canceled. So it decided to make good use of the free time.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I expect a good turnout. I think Charlottesville, it's a good community. I think people like to rally around a good cause. So, like I said, it's an excuse to have a fun party and more importantly, to raise money for people that need it right now. So.
Girl says if you come out Monday, you'll see a few surprise celebrity guests as well.
Well, taking care of your teen can be tough, but 2 professionals say you and your teen are not alone. A UVA doctor says 1 in 5 teens will experience some degree of mental illness. The trick is to create an environment where kids feel safe to talk about what they're going through, and it's okay for your child to have another safe adult they can talk to.
And I always think, and I encourage both teens and their parents to identify other trusted adults in their lives to whom they can go for help and advice and guidance and role modeling, and for parents not to feel threatened by that.
And it can be difficult to raise a healthy and happy child in a time when it seems like everything is changing. These doctors say the jury is still out on what the long-term effects of things like social media and the COVID-19 pandemic will be.
Speed check cameras are becoming more and more common on roads around the Commonwealth, but what happens when you get a ticket and you weren't driving?
Coming up next, one Harrisonburg man experienced just that and is suing over it.
Another beautiful autumn day. Temperatures climbed a little higher this afternoon. Look at some of the highs, how high this weekend, and what's ahead. We'll check it all out. Your forecast on the way.
All across Virginia, more and more cameras used to monitor drivers' speed in construction or school work zones are popping up. One Harrisonburg man says he received a ticket for speeding by one of those cameras in the mail, but he was not the driver. So now he's suing the city of Harrisonburg over it. Maggie Glass reports.
Cameras like this one near an Albemarle County high school automatically flag vehicles going above a certain speed and capture the car's license plate. There's no way to determine who was the driver of the car, though, and that's where this issue is arising. Scott Boger says last June, his father was driving their co-owned car in a highway work zone, clocking 44 miles per hour in a 25. A few weeks later, it's Scott's name on a $100 mail ticket.
It was because my name was first on the registration.
Criminal defense attorney and legal analyst Steve Benjamin says catching the wrong guy was a possibility accounted for in the 2020 Virginia law.
If the person who has received the summons mails in an affidavit saying he wasn't the driver and provides the name and the address of the actual driver, that should be sufficient to have the case dismissed.
The other option is to show up in court to challenge the ticket and again provide the name of the guilty driver.
Judges will often side with a motorist or extend leniency if the motorist takes the time and the trouble to show up in court.
The objection Boger has with the law is that pointing the finger at someone else is an impossible task.
I couldn't do that because I wasn't there, so I don't know who it was. I mean, I assume it was my father, but I don't know that.
Instead, Boger says there should be an investigation, but that would require law enforcement to get involved with the process they purposefully left themselves out of.
They recognize that a proper and a wise allocation of police resources might require that the police be diverted from doing essential traffic enforcement so that they can spend more time preventing crime.
Boger says he has no problem with fining people when they are heavy-footed on the pedal. It's the incorrect ticketing Scott worries is a larger issue.
If both of us are owners and the law says that the owner is guilty, you can't just charge me with no reason.
Boger has filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Harrisonburg and the Speed Camera Company. Maggie Glass, 29 News.
And the Virginia Department of Forestry says despite all the recent rain, we can expect the leaves to change on time and display a wide range of colors. Heavy rains can impact the fall foliage by knocking down the yellow leaves and keeping the green ones intact. The Department of Forestry says this is normal and nothing to worry about.
The trees in the city areas do tend to change early anyway because growing in an urban condition is stressful. People often ask us, is this going to be a pretty fall? And the answer is always yes. We are always going to have fall color.
And she adds Charlottesville has a lot of oak trees and they usually are the last ones to change color.
Now, from the UVA Community Credit Union Weather Center, here is the 29 First Alert forecast.
Good Friday evening. There is the view from the Charlottesville Albemarle Airport. The sun set to set here in about 15-16 minutes. And it's been another gorgeous day. Yes, a cold start, but temperatures came up a little higher today. Speaking of which, that cold, frosty start, we've seen several of those the last several mornings. Mark Cronin showing us the frost on his lawn there in Earlysville. You can also see the setting Hunter's moon, which was going down earlier this morning. And tonight, the nearly full moon now will rise at 7:10 this evening, and about 45 to 50 minutes after sunset, you look in the western sky, you might be able to see the Comet Atlas streak across the sky. Again, as mentioned, fall foliage coming on strong. This is the third weekend of October. A lot more color now. Those colder nights helping. There's a lot more in the way of color along the Blue Ridge and certainly farther out to the west, but it's coming on strong, and give it another week or two. But enjoy what's here for now. 63 is our current number at the airport. Touch 69 for a high today. Air mass is still dry. One of those properties is you can cool it down efficiently at night, and that'll be the case here for another cold overnight. 60 at the Valley Airport at Weir's Cave. You began the morning at 29, made it up to a high of 65 this afternoon. So it'll be a great evening for high school football, and if you can't make it out, you can catch all the action on the Friday Night Fury. Right now you can see most of us are in the low to mid 60s, and we do have a frost advisory for Orange and Madison and Culpeper. There'll be frost elsewhere, but that's the official advisory. mean, once it's more widespread, those are really no longer issued because they go deeper into fall, and of course the growing season's ended out to the west. So widespread 30s tomorrow morning. How about a nice rise in the temperatures, pretty much either side of 70, which is pretty much spot on for a mid-October afternoon. And that's just the beginning, as we'll see temperatures by Sunday in the low to mid 70s. So we've had a touch of November weather this week. We move into the weekend and next week, it'll feel more like September. Things are quiet thanks to a sprawling area of high pressure basically dominating the eastern half of the country. We have to go all the way back into the upper Midwest, back through the northern plain states and the Rockies to really run into the next organized front. Unfortunately, by the time the front makes it to us here along the eastern seaboard, that'll be late Wednesday night, early Thursday. Not much in the way of rain is expected at this time, but it will cool temperatures down likely a week from today. So there's a look at some of the current numbers. You can see that warmth that across the midsection of the country. That will be the warmth headed in our direction as we have high pressure and control and also a shift in the jet stream. Real quickly, in the northwestern Caribbean, this is soon to become Tropical Storm Nadine, and there are warnings up for Belize and the Yucatan, and that's where this soon-to-be tropical storm is headed this weekend into next week into Guatemala. So here we are in the morning, that cold frosty start in the 30s, a beautiful Saturday afternoon with temperatures topping out either side of 70 degrees, and then a chilly start early Sunday morning, upper 30s to around 40, and Sunday afternoon, many of us will make a run into the mid-70s. For tonight then, clear and cold, again, widespread 30s, frosty conditions. There's a look at your weekend and into next week as those temperatures continue to climb, and yeah, more like September. That cold front coming through Wednesday night into Thursday will knock the temperatures down by next Friday back in the 60s, and we're only 2 weekends away now from the time change.
All right, Eric, thank you.
Well, still to come tonight, FEMA is still working through Southwest Virginia to help victims of Hurricane Helene. After the break, an on-the-ground look into what FEMA crews are doing to help.
Ahead for us, we catch up with Vice President Harris at a campaign stop, what she told us about the vice presidency and whether she thinks she is failing to attract more men voters, and details about an extremely close call in the sky when we see you on Nightly News.
FEMA is on the ground in Southwest Virginia connecting with storm victims there. Lindsay Cook went along with a crew to show how the disaster assistance team is making an impact.
For people in some of our hometowns, Helene's aftermath was the first time experiencing disaster.
We know that it's the first time or the only time people have been through this. So we're here to help out.
There are all kinds of ways people can reach out for help, but recently help has been coming straight to some front doors.
If we see anything that's going on in the community, such as, bridges out, roads out, whatever the needs the community has, we're there to actually be there in those communities.
FEMA disaster survivor assistance crews have been going door to door in places like Wythe County, speaking with residents in some of those hard-hit areas.
With FEMA, did you have any kind of damage to your home or personal property? What we've been talking with them about is just, the information about how to get registered and the benefits of registering and getting that assistance.
FEMA specializes in helping survivors of disaster before, during, and after it happens. Although it's been nearly 3 weeks since Helene's storm swept through, FEMA staff say they're still determined to help everyone.
Some people, they need FEMA assistance. Some of the survivors who may not need FEMA assistance, we're there to direct them to the other resources and agencies that are available.
FEMA plans to stay in Southwest Virginia for as long as people need assistance and are encouraging anyone affected by hurricane damage to reach out.
Face-to-face interaction with our DSA teams, that face-to-face interaction at the DRCs, or giving us a call on the phone. We're here to help out.
The deadline to apply for FEMA assistance is December 2nd.
And that was Lindsay Cook reporting. In Virginia, Hurricane Helene left 282,000 people without power. Appalachian Electric Power says they restored a record amount power in just about 8 to 9 days, the fastest in the company's history. They compare the devastation to the power of the derecho of 2012. Now that storm knocked out 500,000 people's power and took 17 days to restore.
We had to bring in helicopters and trench diggers and derrick diggers and different machinery to try to help us essentially rebuild the power grid. So we had to start from scratch. It wasn't like getting up on a pole and replacing one wire.
AEP says they cannot thank the community enough for offering them showers, food, water, and even a place to rest while they worked and weathered the storm.
Roanoke's annual Go Fest is happening right now. Festivities kicking off a little more than an hour ago. And a new feature, Explore Park, is getting in on the fun, offering camping and other activities. Roanoke City Parks and Rec, the manager there, says there are plenty of familiar activities for folks to enjoy this year and some new ones.
This year with Go Fest, you can expect a lot of the traditional things you've seen before. The lumberjacks are coming back. We've got the BMX stunt show. We are bringing back the Ultimate Air Dogs, which is something people have really missed in the past, but they'll be located up at Explore Park.
Go Fest continues through the weekend.
And this morning was Mary Baldwin University's presidential inauguration for Dr. Jeffrey Stein, who took over as president in 2023. This was the first inauguration in 20 years and the 10th total. It was many staff members' first time seeing the ceremony. Dr. Stein, who previously worked at Elon University in North Carolina, says it's an honor and a privilege to be the university's newest president.
It's been a great year getting to know the local community, getting to know Mary Baldwin. We have lots of work to do, but this community has come together over the last year to do so much. We have a lot planned for the future. I'm really looking forward to it.
And he says he's looking forward to working closely with students, teachers, and staff, and he's excited about their new strategic plan, Elevate MBU. And when you're on the move, we're right there with you. Download the 29 News app for the latest in news, sports, and weather wherever you are, right on your phone.
Just open up your camera app and point it toward the QR code on your screen or scan it on our website.
All right, some beautiful weather moving into the weekend. Another cold, frosty start in the morning, but we'll quickly get rid of that chill as temperatures climb either side of 70 for your Saturday afternoon. Even warmer on Sunday in the low to mid 70s. And look at these numbers next week. It's a touch of revisit of September. We'll have a front come in Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Then we'll knock temperatures back down a little cooler by next Friday. But overall, a great forecast stretch.
All right, Eric. Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.